Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here, and I wanted to sit down this morning and shoot a quick video talking about a chart that I haven't talked about in a long time. I'm going to say maybe 2 years since I talked about this chart. And, the last video I did a couple days ago was a Bitcoin market update. It's the first one I did in quite a while. Seemed like everybody really enjoyed that. Feedback was good. Likes and comments and things like that. So I thought, why not do another one? And the irony is, as good as that chart has been that I've been talking about for the last few years, this chart that I'm about to talk about is actually better. Now, I didn't know it was better until today when I literally stumbled across it when I was looking for something completely different. I had stopped mocking it up, like I said, about 2 years ago. So now I have the benefit of hindsight where I can mock up, from this panic phase forward. So let's talk about this. First off, what is this? This chart is the total market cap, not just Bitcoin, but the total market cap divided by the QQQ. So it's a relative strength chart. It's measuring the strength of essentially the cryptocurrency market versus the NASDAQ, the US 100. And what's really interesting is how crazy accurate this has been. We had the peak in May of 2021. Again, for those of you that don't understand, let me just kind of quickly explain so there's no confusion. A relative strength chart is measuring, this one asset versus the second asset, in this case, total market cap versus QQQ. So if you're wondering, wait a minute, I thought, Bitcoin topped in November of 2021. It did versus the US dollar, but it didn't on relative strength. This was actually a bearish divergence, which was one of the reasons that I was so bearish on Bitcoin in 2021 at the end of the years, because it was showing these divergences. So euphoria, complacency, anxiety, denial. Okay, easy enough. Then panic, boom, easy to see panic, just red, red, red. Anger. And then, unlike the Bitcoin chart, which actually put in a higher low, this actually did put in a roughly equal low, which made it a lot easier to call that depression over here. All right. And then we had the big pump, which if you're looking at this chart here, it really does look like that was the disbelief pump, which in my last video, I talked about how we could be repeating 2019, where we had the big 300% pump in the summer of 2019. And then we had the, what people, attributed to COVID, but was really just a correction, maybe a little bit of an over-exaggeration, correction, but still just a correction. And so I find this very interesting. If this is disbelief up here, that means that what comes next, if it is disbelief, and I don't know that it is, would be this disbelief sell-off. So think, March 2020, basically. And it would make sense for this to pull back, maybe even back to this area here around 3.9 or so, down around this area of support, somewhere in this ballpark, already fairly close to it. It wouldn't take a big move to get there from where we're at. About 16% would put us back down at that support level. And that support level looks pretty strong. I mean, you had a nice range through here from June of 2022 really through February of 2024. So almost 2 years at range. There should be quite a bit of volume down there. Should be quite a bit of demand down there. Price moves back down. And so for people that are bullish or looking to be long-term investors in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, that would be an area that I would personally want to keep an eye on. Whether you buy or sell, that's completely up to you. I'm not a financial advisor, but it's an area where, like I said, there should be, in theory, quite a bit of demand for Bitcoin. And again, if it's disbelief and you're going by this chart, which tends to be a pretty decent guidepost, disbelief would be like back here, okay, before you start the whole bull market. So pretty interesting, okay. Somebody did ask, and I just answered it, but for anybody else who's wondering, I kind of thought this was clear because I talk about it so much, but I tend to forget that not everybody has watched several videos. Sometimes might be your first time seeing something. These buy and sell labels, these are put on there by this indicator called Trend Titan. We turn them off, they disappear. Trend Titan is an indicator that I personally coded. I'm in a unique position because I've been trading for a little over 7 years, and I've been coding for, if you count hobby and tinkering and things like that, I've been coding for over 30 years. I wrote my first software code in 1994, I believe. When I was still a kid, I was in a program, they called it Alert. It was a program for the quote unquote gifted kids, the book smart kids, essentially, which means nothing in real life. But as a kid, you think you think you're somehow special. But anyway, I was in this program for quote unquote gifted kids. And one of the things they taught was some computer programming stuff back on Apple computers. So, 30 years, if you want to count that. But realistically, I took a coding boot camp in 2016 and started writing quite a bit of software on my own. And so I've had a software business since 2011, but I hired people to write software. I was a software publisher. But I've been writing a lot of my own software since 2016. So Trend Titan is kind of a culmination of multiple passions. I'm passionate about software. I love the fact that software can solve problems and also automate tasks and save just enormous amounts of time. I'm also obviously passionate about trading in markets. And so I merged the two of those, and I actually have several algorithms / indicators that I wrote for my own trading. And then I make some of those available to other people through paid subscriptions, of course. Trend Titan is one of those. It's a swing trade algorithm. It essentially allows me to set up alerts on, several hundred assets at once. And then I don't have to sit and eyeball charts all the time for swing trades and position trades. I can, alert goes off. I go take a look at the chart and decide, yeah, I agree with Trend Titan. I think that's a good signaler. Trend Titan may be slipping a bit on this one. I'll pass, that kind of thing. And I suppose real quickly, I don't want to do a whole Bitcoin video, but maybe real quickly, I should look at Bitcoin just to give you a 30-second overview. So I remember in the last video, I was talking about the 200-day moving average, watching it, be careful of that. So it looks like it left behind a tail, which is a demand tail. It's trying to move back up, but it's still, still in a range. So nothing spectacular there other than it's held the 200. And then on the market cycle chart, this is that range I was talking about that bulls need to really hang on to. Looks like they did manage to hang on to it. So for right now, there's still hope for the bulls. But like I said in the last video, just because it starts to go down, it's not a reason to panic and think that we're suddenly in a horrific bear market. We haven't had much of a bull market yet. So this starts to break down. My gut instinct would be that this is probably just a disbelief dump or a correction, and that there's probably still more upside to come. I could be wrong. I mean, obviously I've been wrong plenty of times before. Just like any other trader, I know my limitations. I'm not Nostradamus. I just had a couple of good calls, and that's fine, but I've also had some bad calls. So I'll wrap the video up there. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember that I am just some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. So nothing in the video is financial advice. You should always go out and do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor for making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, precious metals, Forex, or any other tradable asset. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to leave me a comment. I always like to hear what people are thinking. And most importantly, please remember to trade safe.